What's up, y'all? It's your girl Q1. I am back with Love and Hip Hop Miami, Season 6, Episode 10, TNT. Before we get started, y'all, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell to be updated on everything that I drop. All right? So, we start with Flo. She's at her shop and, she's saying how upset she was at Marlon and Alan. She also says that she's upset with Shay for, I guess, mending for that post that her and Amada did on IG. So Shay walks into Flo's store and she notices that her products isn't on the shelf anymore. So she asks Flo, hey, what happened to my products? And Flo was like, well, I took them down. And she said she took them down because because Shay is friends with Amara again. And Shay was like, and I'm feeling like y'all have to explain, can I tell y'all how childish this season is? The women, these grown women acting like children, like having to choose between this person, that person. It's like a never ending cycle, especially on this here particular Love and Hip Hop branch. But she was like, well, I'm trying to mend things. I'm being cordial. We're trying to rebuild because they did have a really good relationship. Shay says she wants both Flo and Amara to talk. Shay also tells Amara that Marlon told Amara that he wants his family back. At this point, it seems that all of the ladies surrounding Shay and Flo wants a problem. They just want an issue. Nobody wants conflict resolution. They only want the conflict. Shay wants the women to come together. And I'm just over it. She just want, she wants everybody to come together, but I'm over the conflict. I'm really ready to see conflict resolution. I think, y'all, these are the parts that actually starting to drain me. And then like I said, I'm only 3 months in, but it's just draining. I like the lightheartedness of shows, Anyway, so Ching Diamond is in a studio with Derek, and she actually gives Derek his flowers. She says, he's amazing as a producer, and y'all, to me, it feels like they treat Derek like he Dr. Phil. They just tell him all his business. And I think I was wrong. I'm going to say this. I think I was wrong about Derek because I thought he was going to be a hotmess.com. So I'm not going to fully apologize, but I'm going to say kudos to Derek for being about his business. So I like Ching Diamond's energy. Y'all, she looked just like Missy Elliott. I don't know if anybody saw that or said that, but she looks like Missy Elliott to me. So Marquez calls Ching, and you have a collect call from correctional facility. Do you mind taking a charge? Sorry, y'all. And so he tells Ching that the guards found a shank in his room, but it wasn't for him, and he have a roommate, and now he could possibly not be released for another. He's not going to be released for another 31 days. And he tells her, so she's mad. She was like, I can't do X, Y, and Z. I'm trying to do this, yada, yada, yada. So then he says, it sounds like you're trying to leave me. First of all, the moment you got locked, the moment they read you your Miranda rights, it would have been finito for us. Cause I don't even have time. But maybe that's the. Mm-mm. So anyway, I feel like he playing in her face. I feel like he's lying about having this shank because apparently you're not known for doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is why you're back in jail according to the mom from the last, according to Ching's mom from a couple episodes ago. So apparently you are not to be trusted. um and I want to say this, even though she did stop her, to answer the phone, she stopped her session to answer the phone. It feels like the only two that are serious as far as new artists that are serious about their craft is Ching and Zoe. I like the way they rap. I like their energy. I actually really like their friendship. Um, I do. I do. I like how they own who they are. They are happy in who they are. I just think that as far as men, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry to say this, and I'm not sorry, but I think the men that they have is trash. And I feel like they can do a whole lot better, or they can just do it by themselves. I'm not trying to be that person, and if it sounds like I'm that person, I really don't know what to say. But they're beautiful women. You can do better. So anyway, Eliza Rain is back, and she has an organic castor oil, and it's called Foreign Chevaux. Chevaux, I think. So Amara comes to comes to her photo shoot or whatever, and Amara says that product sounds familiar. Eliza says that this isn't familiar, that this is her product. She came up with the name Foreign first, and we find out that Eliza don't fool with Estelita. Now, I don't think she said why. As a matter of fact, Eliza hadn't done a lot of explaining on anything. She just said she don't fool with people. So certain people she ain't fooling with. So I guess Amara thinks that they're acting childish. And the fact that Amara acting like she's so above, you just been caught up in a whole lot of stuff. But you acting like you so above. But all right, girl, have at it. Eliza says she doesn't fool with Van. And for me, I'm not even mad at that. She fired Van. And so Amara was like, well, what happened? What's her name? Eliza said she didn't want to talk about it. I did say that probably explains why he's friends with Estelita, and I actually saw him with Estelita last week, but we did not know that her and Estelita wasn't cool, because the last time we saw Eliza, I want to say they all were with Zoe or whatever, and they all were cool. Nobody said anything about anything. I don't know. So she tells Amara that she doesn't have time. She wants a group of fresh women in her life, people that's not with the drama, the people that's just above it, and that she's speaking at Angela's event for single moms who work in the nightlife. And they're actually thinking about leaving the nightlife. Like, what is life after, dancing? What's the alternative? What's next? What they could be. So I'm not mad at her for that. I'm really not. So Eliza asks Amara about Shay, and once again, Amara and Shay feels like they have to explain to everybody around them about their relationship and their friendship that they had prior to all of these ladies coming along. Anyway, so we find out that Flo sells light skin products for dark skinned people. Somebody, listen, I don't know if I heard that right, but I would never. I love my skin. I love my tone. I love my brownness. I love it, Anyway, so Zoe and Ching are at the gym. Zoe says that she's going to premarital counseling with her pastor because her and Calvin are still arguing and he's still managing her. And I just feel like Zoe needs to leave. So Ching did tell Zoe about Mr. Love after lockup, and that she also tells Zoe that she was invited to Shay's tea party. Zoe was like, I don't really mess with her because she fat shamed me. And, you know, they got into it. So Ching said in her confessional she knows Shay from Love and Hip Hop Miami and Flavor of Love. You tongue kiss nasty Flavor Flav. I'm sorry, y'all. Shay Bucky Johnson. And also, if y'all don't know, Shay, you know, we all know Shay was on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. But she was also on Monique's Charm School. All right? She was Shay Johnson. They didn't call her Bucky. That's what Bucky was her name on Flavor of Love. That was my show. Y'all ever want to watch good reality TV? Flavor of Love was good. I think all of them seasons. I Love New York was pretty good. Monique Charm School. Like, go back and really watch these things. They were really good. Anyway, so Estelita meets up with Van, and she said that she wanted to know why Eliza didn't attend her event. And Van tells Estelita that Eliza isn't her friend. Once again, Van is an agent of chaos. Van tells Estelita that Eliza said she stole her business name Foreign. And Estelita says when Eliza told her about the oil, she asked if they can launch their products together and have a foreign, some type of event, you know, like a foreign event or whatever. Van is messy AF, and to me, he wants clout, and I guess it's Mad Day because he's airing out all of Eliza's dirty laundry, and it's giving an enemy of my enemy is my friend, and I have said this on multiple TV shows. An enemy of an enemy is my friend. Now, I will say this. Even though I do not like Van, and even though he is an agent of chaos, I will say this. And even though he is not to be trusted, he probably not even lying on Eliza. But it still doesn't, don't negate the fact that you're an agent of chaos and you're messy and you want to be on this show. That's how I feel. I feel like from the moment we saw him in that raggedy ass beard, he been wanting to be on this show. I be trying not to be this person, but Anyway, Amara meets up with Marlon. He tells her about Flo and Alan, that they were in the studio together. He called Flo because she been gone all day. He was watching the kids. Sir, those are your kids. That lady is not your responsibility. Aren't y'all getting a divorce? So because she didn't come home, he went to the studio to go look for her, and he calls her and Alan answers the phone. So he's telling Amara all of this. Amara was like, Flo isn't good for you, basically, and she didn't even know Alan was still in Miami. She thought he was in the DR, because he saw the kids that one time, but he hasn't been back since he's been in Miami to see the kids. So Marlon goes to make fake threats and say, you tell your baby daddy to chill, or I'm gonna have to do what I need to do. We guess Marlon. Anyway, so we see Zoe and Dirty Calvin. I'm sorry. Anyway, they speak to this pastor named Pastor Rockshner Jean. I think I just butchered this man's name. And in the session, first of all, let me say this. Yes, it is good to seek spiritual counseling in the realm of being a couple in the spiritual side. And I also feel like if there's going to be any premarital counseling, that the wife of the pastor should also be there, not just the pastor. I think that everybody should go to an actual counselor, a family and marriage counselor, especially for premarital counseling. Anyway, he asked Zoe what's keeping her from getting the solution she need for her marriage. And I'm like, her marriage? I guess. Zoe says she's tired of being emotional. He asked Zoe, do you believe God answers prayers? Zoe says he didn't answer hers yet. And y'all, when she said that, I am willing to bet that this is far more than Calvin. So the pastor asked, why do you think he didn't answer you? Zoe says she don't know. That's what she's trying to figure out. And so let me say this. I think sometimes I think we want Jesus to come in and be like, hey. He's not going to do that. God shows you through people, signs. He confirms those things. Basically, answer prayers are just confirmations of things that you pray about. And I'm also willing to believe that she has gotten confirmation. She just overlooked the confirmation. I think Calvin. I just don't think Calvin and Zoe need to be together. But we will get there. So the pastor says they're supposed to give 50-50. I mean, they're not supposed to be in a relationship that's 50-50. He said basically that's ignorant. He said if you think you will get, he said you're not supposed to be in a 50-50 relationship thinking you'll get 100. That's ignorant. He said marriage is 100-100 and a battle is to stay together. All right. I have never been married. I do know as individuals, we're not going to always be able to give 100. I may not have 100 to give. I may only have 5% to give. And that might just be for the day or in the moment. I may not, just like my partner may or may not always have 100 to give. But he said the battle is to stay together. Is it? I mean, under what guise? Is it to just take crap from each other? What if it just not work? What if it's not working? What if we're not equally yoked? And I'm not talking about in a sense of, because I think everybody thinks equally yoked mean we go to church. No. Equally yoked means, my definition of equally yoked is having stuff in common, just basically having some things in common. Like, I may not want kids. You may not want kids. Okay, we could do something with that. But if you want kids and I don't, then we don't need to be together. If a person wants to be married and the other person doesn't, that's not them yoking. If two individuals come together and they both want to be married, I feel like that's a part of yoking. And again, I may be wrong, but that's just how I interpret. Equal partnership. You grow together. There are things that, your partner may not be lacking in, and you may be lacking in, and vice versa. But you work together to, you know, whatever. Anyway, Calvin says that he loves Zoe unconditionally. He said he will always put Zoe first, even above himself. This right here, I do not agree with this. I'm sorry, y'all. I try not to be so opinionated, but I'm not coming into a relationship, or I don't expect somebody to come in a relationship and tell me you love me over above yourself. I'm sorry. How can you love me if you if you don't have the capacity to love yourself? To me, I feel like when you say things like that, people sometimes say things that they think the other party wants to hear because it sounds good. To tell somebody, I love you more than I love myself, that does not sound good. That is unhealthy. That is unhealthy. Again, if I'm wrong, drop it. But that's just my stance on it. I'm sorry. I just disagree. Anyway, Zoe says she wants to make the relationship. I want to say she wanted to make the relationship work, but she's not healed emotionally from all the stuff that has gone on between them in the past. So this sounds like some infidelity, some untrustworthy stuff that Calvin has done, but he went to her, he apologized, he decreased her, and is it endorphins? Like that rush that you get. Like, as long as they apologize, you're okay with it until they do something else. When they do something else, you're back in a space that you don't want to be in. Those spaces keep you don't understand. They keep you confused. You feel like you're shrinking. You stay in those spaces until they come and apologize and say, hey, I'm sorry. And that's enough to pull you right back in. And this is where the distrust comes. This is where the anxiety comes. This is just from him. This is not from Zoe's actual trauma. Because I did not know Zoe was molested. I hope I can say that on here. But I am willing to believe that Zoe has not dealt with those things, which is probably why she is with Calvin. Because he promised her safety. He promised her trustworthiness. He promised her those things. And that's not for you to, I don't know. Anyway, just work with me, y'all. I'm trying to go through this little by little. Anyway, the pastor asks, for every time he has made you angry, what was your thought process? Zoe was immediately like, I'm done. The pastor asked Zoe, the pastor asked Zoe if her mentality is for her to quit. She says that she guessed. Pastor asked if it don't go her way. He reiterated, so if it doesn't go your way, you quit. Zoe says no. If it don't go my way, she says no, she don't quit even if it doesn't go her way. But when she gets mad and he's wronging her, when Calvin is wronging her, she doesn't want to fight anymore. So I found it odd. Okay, I'm sorry, let me keep going. And then pastor turned to Calvin and asked him if he heard what Zoe says. He tells Calvin that she gets upset when he wronged her. Pastor also tells Zoe that the problem is when she expresses how she feels, why does she keep holding it? So you're expressing to him how he feels, but you keep holding on to it. Zoe says she feels like she haven't healed yet. A couple things. I don't feel like he addressed Calvin enough, because judging by the smirk on his face, Kelvin was not held accountable. Kelvin was not questioned from the things that he has done. So we don't even know what Kelvin done for Zoe to feel the ways that she's feeling. The only thing Zoe keeps saying is they keep arguing. They keep arguing, and he's her manager. Those are the only two things she keeps saying, but I think it's a whole lot more. I do not think Zoe wants her way. I think that she is looking for understanding from Kelvin, and that is something he's not giving her. I do think that she constantly picks it back up because it's not resolved. Kelvin tells her what she wants to hear in that moment to make her feel good. It feels good for a little while. And then he does something again. And it brings her right back to where she started. It brings her to that uneasy spirit. It brings her to that space that keeps you, that kind of keeps you bound. It's an uneasy feeling that you can't explain. It's confusion. It's all of it. I wish that the pastor should, could have held Kelvin accountable. Kelvin, there was no resolve. I feel like there was no resolve for Zoe. Hence, why I say you have to go to an actual certified licensed counselor to help you deal with those problems. The pastor says when Zoe told him that she felt like she haven't healed yet, he didn't ask her heal from what, but I don't know if Zoe thinks that healing from whatever Kelvin has done is going to solve everything. No, you have to dig a little deeper, a lot deeper, and go into those spaces that has caused the hurt, the trauma, and the pain. That's where Zoe needs to heal from. This somehow is what a pastor made some sense to me. He says, if you're not healed, who's going to heal you? Kelvin? If he's the cause of all of your problems, then y'all are not going to be healed. I 100% agree. I think that's when the people always say you can't go to the place that has hurt you. That's what that sound like. You always see it all the time. Anyway, Zoe asks, how do we heal from what they're going through with each other if they still stay together? And again, goes back to you cannot heal from the place that made you bleed, right? So pastor says that they're not going to heal because they both are damaging each other by staying together, which I 100% agree. He said because Kelvin doesn't know how broken Zoe is, because her brokenness didn't start with Kelvin. It started well before Kelvin entered her life. It started long ago. And Pastor tells Kelvin that Zoe came into your life trusting you, thinking you can make her heal. My friend told me that there are people in this world that can help you through your trauma. I disagree. I am the only one. And I could be wrong. I don't feel like it's anybody's responsibility to help me heal but me. You cannot heal me. I mean, we can, if you know what I'm going through, you can have empathy and sympathy for me and you can be there for me, but it's not your job to heal me. That is exhausting. You go to a professional and this is where professionals come in. I do think Zoe went into this thinking that these are the things he can give her, but not because that's what Kelvin has told her, made her feel like I have the ability to heal you, not thinking that he can't do that. And that's not his responsibility. It's not his place. Again, y'all might disagree, and that is okay. That is okay. I'm not as great in the mental health sector that I would like to be, but give me time. Give me time. And I promise y'all, I promise y'all, we gonna start talking about some mental health stuff. Um, Kelvin thinks, now this is where Kelvin was not listening. He was not effectively listening because I feel like you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your now. You're thinking about that this is your meal ticket. Kelvin thinks that they should stay together and work it out. He claims that he's willing to take a step back so they can heal. I call cap. I think that Kelvin wants Zoe to stay. Again, meal ticket. This is my job. If Zoe leaves, then I have to find a job. I have to get back. Like, Zoe is what he needs financially. She's a financial gain for him. I'm not saying that he doesn't love Zoe. He might. And he probably, again, he might. But we're not going to act like this ain't for financial gain either. Like it ain't benefiting him. And I do think that ultimately, not because I dislike Kelvin, and I'm not a fan of Kelvin. I think that most people, before we all get into any type of relationship, we really need to heal. And I'm only telling y'all this from experience. I literally had to step out of something because I needed to heal. And I thought that I was ready, and I wasn't. I wasn't. I wasn't saying that I was healed enough. Yeah, I was pointing out my stuff, but there are things that triggered some of those mental health issues. And so I had to learn to choose me. And if I fumbled that, then that's something I have to live with. But ultimately, I had to choose me. And I think the only reason I can relate with Zoe is because I kind of share the same thing. I just think Zoe don't need to be in a space with Kelvin. I think she needs to cut all ties, find her a manager, and do this professionally. I think that she needs to really step away from this relationship and really heal. Her and that Kiki girl, I do not think that they need to be friends. I think that Zoe needs to really work on her. I do. I think Zoe is a talented woman. I think that she has a lot to offer as an individual. I just think that she needs to heal. And again, I could be wrong. I really could be wrong, but just, drop it in the comments. I love feedback. Anyway, sorry y'all. I'm sorry. I just needed to say that. So we get to Angela's event, and she wants to empower women that's been in the nightlife, dancers or whatever, current and former dancers. And, she wants them to have an exit plan. Basically, there are a couple women there that was in nightlife that they changed their life around. A lot of them are realtors. A lot of them have products, so it's cool. Like, I'm all for it. Don't use it. Like, I forgot her name, but she said that being in a nightlife, it's not it shouldn't be permanent. It just should be for the moment. Like, for the moment, however long, have you a plan, get in, get out, and then, start doing those things that you really, really want to do. Or while you're doing it, start working on those things while you're in the nightlife. Anyway, we get to Shay's Tea Party. It's supposed to be about women's empowerment and body positivity. And I'm just going to say this. This was colorism at its finest. It was terrible between, especially, what's her name? Flo, talking about she's light skinned, calling, even if you didn't say it, you repeated what Alan said about Amara being a black B word. I find it tasteless and tacky. I think Flo is tasteless. I think that she's ignorant. Let's start there. She's very ignorant. I think Shay holds some responsibility because while this is your event, you shouldn't have allowed these women to come together and have a conversation when you knew it was going to be a show. I think that women's empowerment on some of these shows are overrated. Body positivity, when you just call Zoe fat in some ways. The ladies did look beautiful. I will say that as you look around and you see each woman, they look beautiful. I just feel like all of these events should not be. This is where I do not like this portion of these shows, because you get to people's events where it's supposed to be spotlighted. The spotlight should be on their event, but the fight has overshadowed the event. I just think that Flo in this moment was ignorant. She really was. Calling Amara out her name is trash. I think Flo and Amara are just alike, which is why they don't get along. I do think that there should be conflict resolution rather than conflict. We don't always want to see conflict on these TV shows. A lot of us, we've seen it year after year. Reality TV been on for years, and that's all we've seen. Now it's worse. It's getting worse by the minute. It's actually draining, if you ask me. I'm not gonna lie, I checked out in this part. I think the Zoe and the Kelvin situation kind of took a lot out that I have nothing to give in this colorism conversation. And then even when you seen it, as the credits was showing, they had the little information about colorism. It goes to me. It takes me back to Erica Mena and what's her name, Spice. We're over it. We're over it. I do think that Flo can go. I think Gael needs to go. I think because they don't. Because they don't bring anything. I think those twin girls can go because they're not there unless they're friends of Tip. I like Tip. I really do. I like Tip. Eliza can go. Estelita definitely can go. But I know y'all bring her on because of the drama. I think Ray J or his wife shouldn't be on here. I think Trick Daddy can go. And Trina. I think we need a whole new slew of people. And even though I like Sukiana, I don't think she needs to return. I get everybody loves drama. Amara can go. Shay can go. At this point, just scoop them all up and go. But hey, I don't think that that's going to happen. Anyway, y'all, this review was a little lengthy, y'all. I tried to, but I couldn't. So listen, just go ahead and tell me what y'all think. Again, I could be wrong. I'm no therapist. I am hopefully one day, but I'm no therapist. So I don't know. I will see y'all in the next one.